Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the closing keynote of the NAMLE 2023 conference. We're so glad you're here. We hope you enjoyed the sessions, the networking, and the engagement, and have been inspired all along the way, from Thursday night until right now. We know there's been so many amazing resources, so special shout out to Catherine. We're adding a link in the chat right now to a Wakelet that Catherine created for us. Catherine's been curating all kinds of amazing resources from so many different sessions. Thank you, Catherine. Since we won't be virtually seeing you after the keynote, don't forget about all the ways we can continue to connect with media literacy education community members. Of course, we hope you'll take advantage of NAMLE's free membership. There's also more ways to get engaged. So first, our community hub. This is a new community space NAMLE launched this spring to provide a way for our large, diverse community to connect. As a NAMLE member, because you listened to me a paragraph ago and now you're a NAMLE member, as a NAMLE member, you'll have access to this hub, and we hope you'll consider posting and joining in conversations regularly there. Second, join us for our quarterly membership meetings. These are casual conversations to network and learn about new resources in media literacy education. Our next membership meeting is Wednesday, September 6th from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those in California and West Coast, I'll say it in your way, 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Each year, we work with our partners at Thomson Reuters on Media Literacy Week events and activities. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce the one, the only, I can't believe he's here. We're so excited. It's Pranav Karthikeyan, NAMLE's student ambassador, who's going to talk about the launch of this year's student media literacy video contest. Pranav, hello. How are you?
Hello, everybody. My name is Pranav Karthikeyan, and I am NAMLE's student ambassador. I am so excited to announce the 2023 annual media literacy contest for students in classrooms hosted by Thomson Reuters in partnership with NAMLE. Students are invited to share their thoughts on what are the most important ethical principles technology developers should consider as they shape the future of artificial intelligence. You can submit your response via video. The deadline for this submission is on October 6, 2023 at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The contest is open to middle and high schoolers from the United States or Canada. In the end, up to 5 students will be selected from this contest to receive a virtual mentorship opportunity with a Reuters journalist. I speak from firsthand experience that this is an awesome opportunity to bring in your perspective and a chance to experience the amazing mentorship of Reuters journalists who are the front runners of responsible journalism. In the spirit of this year's theme, Youth Rising, enter this contest to showcase your creativity, talent, and put our voices at the forefront. And finally, have fun and good luck. Thank you.
Pranav, thank you so much. I got to say, one of my highlights of the conference was knowing that I get a chance to hang out with you, like looking at other things you've done before. You really are just one of the most committed media literacy advocates. I know the script says youth media literacy advocate. I'm getting rid of that, just committed media literacy advocate. And we really hope that teachers are going to work with students this coming year to submit to the contest. Mentorship with a Reuters journalist is truly priceless.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Pranav, thank you again. We're going to switch gears now and get to our final keynote conversation. Our session is called Youth Rising, Digital4Good Winners on Digital Impact. Each year, I can help shine the spotlight on student innovation and leadership through Digital4Good, which awards and celebrates students who are using digital technology for impact. We're going to hear from some of the past winners to learn more about their winning projects. It's going to be so good. I can help develop online safety, digital wellness, digital citizenship, and positivity programs to train students how to be digital first responders. I Can Help has been a longtime partner of NAMLE, and we are so excited to highlight their work here. So now let me introduce Preston Hickert, a middle school ELA teacher and student council advisor who's currently pursuing his doctorate degree. According to his bio, he's a dog dad, a kindness advocate, and a wannabe Avenger, which means we have a lot in common because some of you didn't know I'm an actual Avenger. I don't know what that means. Preston, welcome. Thank you for being here to facilitate this session.
Thanks for having me. All right, so over the course of our time together this afternoon, you're going to have the chance to hear from 3 of our Digital for Good winners. All of these young people are doing incredible things to make a difference in their communities, and they're especially using their digital tools for good. Earlier this year, our Digital for Good winners were invited to make their pitches similar to what you're going to hear shortly. And they receive mentorship from industry leaders on their products that they're going to share with you. When we hear from all of our winners, we'll also be able to have a Q&A session at the end of our time. So make sure you hold on to those questions at the end, and we'll make sure and get some answers for you. So our first Digital for Good winner is Anna Miller. Anna is a Gen Z influencer who uses her platform to speak on things from inclusion in technology to women's history, and even our own stories traveling around the world. And as a traveler, accessibility advocate, ramen lover, and a creative force for good. Let's hear from our first Digital for Good winner, Anna Miller.
Hello, everybody. All right. Imagine this. You're going with your family or friends on vacation. You can already feel the soft sand between your toes. You can hear the ocean waves crashing against the shore. You've been looking forward to this all year. You know everything you want to do on this vacation and you can't wait. But now imagine that as soon as you get on your way, your plan starts to crumble. When you get to your hotel, you discover that you can't even get to your own room. All right, that's okay. We'll figure that out later. Let's go have some fun. But when you head to the beach, you realize that you can't even go out onto the sand, nowhere near the water like you dreamed. Well, all right, at least you got to watch others have fun. Now let's head to dinner. You've already researched what this town is known for, and you can't wait to try their local specialties. Upon arrival, though, you're told you actually can't come inside. Or maybe if you're lucky, they'll have a special entrance for you back by the dumpsters. Pretty crazy, huh? One moment, you are ecstatic to enjoy your vacation. The next, you are reminded that you were expected to live in a world that wasn't designed for you. How could this happen, you wonder? This is the reality that disabled travelers face when they try to explore the world around them. Including myself, each of these experiences has happened to me personally. My name is Anna Miller, and I want to see that change. Because 1 billion people in this world are experiencing some form of disability, including myself. Since 2019, I've been working on telling my story as an active traveling wheelchair user. Using my website and social media platforms, The Real Anna Miller, I've been sharing my experiences and celebrating travel destinations, businesses, and more that are committed to accessibility, as well as sharing the struggles I face along the way. It's not always easy, but I show that living an adventurous life is possible for everyone. Because the disabled community is one of the most underrepresented minorities in the world, people often imagine us just stuck at home or in a hospital. They don't imagine us out doing amazing things and exploring the world. In addition to helping families and friends of those with disabilities, I hope my platform will help change the perspective of others around the world, because the disabled community is just as deserving as allies as every other minority group. Since I've started my project, I've been looking for partners in 3 key areas. Number 1, I want students to learn about stories like mine, and then take my Disabled Ally Pledge found on my website, which would challenge them to look around their communities for accessible routes and to ask businesses how they can accommodate those with mobility concerns. You can find this at therealanamiller.com/pledge. Number 2, I'm looking for support from those with experience helping stories like mine reach wider audiences. The disabled community is the only minority group that anyone can become a part of at any moment. And I want to make sure that I'm reaching as many people as possible. Number 3, I'm looking for corporate partners, businesses, and visitor bureaus in collaboration. If you represent a brand, business, or travel destination that wants to make sure you're welcoming all communities, I'd love to partner with you and share what it's like to be a disabled traveler visiting your location. I hope everyone in the audience today enjoyed listening and will follow me on my social media. On Instagram and Facebook, I'm The Real Anna Miller, and on my newly launched TikTok, I'm Wheelchair and a Passport. So what do you say? Join me. Help turn the no that disabled travelers face into a yes. Help me make sure that everyone has equal access to explore this amazing world.
Thank you, Anna. That was so good. So good, Anna. I just want to hear you brag about yourself for a second. So give us some stats on this network of people you've been building. Do you have any stats for us? How far is your reach?
So on Instagram, I have about a little over 1,000 followers. I'm still, but I'm trying to focus more on TikTok now because actually I've realized I can gain quite a lot of traction there. I've already reached over 1,000 followers in, I think, I mean, I started like last month, I think. So it's been quite a crazy change.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been, one of my views on TikTok got to, it's actually at 300,000 something now. It's crazy. It's something like that, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So where did you get like the idea to start doing what you're doing? You kind of talked about your experience, but what made you say like, I'm going to go start trying to make a change on all of this stuff?
So at first, I mean, I've always had that idea of, I'm really focused on inclusivity. And at first, I was really focused on coding and inclusivity within the coding world, the tech world, just like what we're doing right now, inclusivity in tech and like wellness on tech. But then I realized coding's not actually my skill. I'm not actually very good at it. But I did find that storytelling is my skill, bringing people together, weaving these stories, sharing my experiences. And when I realized that, I wanted to harness that. And I knew that if I was able to create something like The Real Anna Miller, that image, I could bring awareness to how important inclusivity and accessibility was. And then I started going on all these adventures within travel adventures. And I knew that if I started showing this, the idea that disabled people traveling would not be as weird, as out there. I want to normalize that as much as possible. And so when I created my Instagram account, it started out as just motivational videos, but then it evolved into this. And then I just kept going.
That's awesome. So take us all along this journey with you. What kinds of things did you have to learn, or how did you learn how to do all this?
So it was definitely a crazy start at first. I knew nothing about, making videos, editing videos. I'm still learning about editing videos. And trying to reach those audiences, it was very slow at first. And as I said, it just started as motivational videos, like have a good day, people mess up or things like that. And then when I started doing my travels, I realized, I can do something with this. And so I was getting these tips from people who were, in my corner, and I have an amazing support system, and I really hope that everyone does. It's an amazing thing to have a support system, and it really helped me to grow. And then when I joined Digital4Good, that's where I found the idea to go onto TikTok, because everyone was telling me, get on TikTok, and it really worked. And so, yeah, I started on Instagram. It was a rocky start at first, but eventually I just kept going, getting some momentum, and now I'm here.
That's great. Anna, what's your next adventure?
Oh boy. I don't actually know right now. You would think that I've gotten everything planned out, but no, it It's actually kind of a little random sometimes, but I'm always excited for it, you know? So I don't know at the moment, but I will definitely keep everyone updated when it happens.
All right. And Anna, tell us one more time how we can follow you.
All right, so my tags, so my tags are on Instagram and Facebook. It's the real Anna Miller. And on TikTok, it's actually wheelchair and a passport.
All right. Thank you, Anna. All right. Our next Digital for Good winner that we are going to hear from is Hershni Chadha, who founded Project Smile A to Z when he saw a need for more smiles. Throughout his efforts, he's had over 1,000 volunteers join him from across the globe. He's had an impact on over 7,000 people. He described himself as Gen Z making the world smile with one kind act at a time. He also let us know backstage that this is his third conference in 3 days. So you're in for arguably the most in-demand Gen Zer today. So let's hear from Hershni Chadha.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate this. All right, what's up, guys? My name's Hershni Chadha, and I'm the founder and CEO of Project Smile AZ. And basically our mission here is to make volunteering easy. And with that, we're going to make smiles for all from A to Z. And I'm going to show you exactly how. Just a little bit of background. Now, my brother and I, we've been both volunteering since we were around 5 years old. Pretty young. We'd go every week. We'd volunteer at a community kitchen. But that all came to a stop with the pandemic. The pandemic made it so that the lockdowns made us stay at home and just unable to get the social contact and continue helping people out in the many ways that we used to. So we decided that we would start helping some of the other people that were isolated in the pandemic, and most notably COVID patients who couldn't see their families because of the lockdowns. So we started a statewide card drive for COVID patients, and we called it Project Smile AZ. And that's when we realized to get more volunteers to do our drive, we would have to disrupt volunteering. So that's when we started to nail some of the problems that came with traditional volunteering. It's inconvenient having to go from website to website to website just to find opportunities that might not even be for you. And then it's clunky, just having to go to a place 2 hours away and not even knowing like how to get your hours verified, where to sign in. There's just so many moving parts and they could all be fixed with tech, but there's a lack of integration. And because of that, volunteers are stuck in the past. So Project Smile AZ hits all of these problems straight on the head by doing virtual volunteering so that anyone, anywhere can make kindness cards for anyone, anytime. We also started more leadership opportunities and even training so that people can lead their own Project Smile AZ chapters anywhere and start leading their own movements. We make volunteering not just a one-time experience, but a lifetime experience. People come back to us every week and volunteer with Project Smile because of how easy it is. And we've even started lowering the barriers to entry for volunteering through our Project Smile AZ Art Kits program, which allows low-income families who don't even have the money to volunteer to now have the opportunity to do that through our Smile Art Kits program, which they can use to request art kits and have the supplies they need to make kindness cards for anyone in need. When we realized we had a successful product, we decided to launch a PR campaign to grow our operation, which had us featured in Yahoo News, CNN, the Peoria Mayor's Pandemic Series, and so much more. And we decided to partner with the Presidential Volunteer Service Award, Giving Tuesday, YSA, Sodexo, and so many other organizations to provide more resources and opportunity for funding for our volunteers. Now onto our current metrics. Last quarter, our organization contributed $18,000 in volunteer hours, and our cumulative impact is 70,000 lives. And that has grown 121% year over year in our 3 years operating as a nonprofit organization. And our future projections are based on our ability to, 1, launch another successful PR campaign, 2, build a greater presence outside the United States, and 3, automate our operations with AI. And our worst case scenario is that by 2026, we will impact over 250,000 lives. And our best case, that number is closer to 800,000. So change makers, who's ready to make volunteering easy and impact large with Project Smile AZ? Hope it's you.
Great job, Hirschneet. All right. So you talked about, you have this big goal of reaching these hundreds of thousands of people, right?
Correct.
So take us back. How did you do all of this?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier briefly, my brother and I, we were volunteering, I want to say at least 4 hours a week at either community kitchens, senior homes, just anywhere we could go, trail cleanups, just anything we could do, we would do. So we already had kind of like a founder market fit. Like we understood that we were volunteers. We knew that volunteers would want less inconveniences, more technical integration. So we already kind of understood some of the hurdles of volunteering. So when the pandemic happened, it kind of forced us to come up with the solutions to all these problems so that we could bring more people on the ground to volunteer with Project Smile AZ. And now after the pandemic, those people have largely stuck with us. Initially, we tried to just build like a statewide solution temporarily. Project Smile was supposed to last maybe 4 months. And then with all the increased demand, we decided we were going to keep going. We're going to keep scaling more and more and more. And now we're at 70,000.
That's awesome. And did you and your brother do all the digital infrastructure and on all the technology coding and things?
So we did. So initially I built the website by myself, and my brother worked a lot on the graphic design side of things, but eventually we did have to bring some people in that were just better at us, that on these specific aspects. And, as me and my brother became more managers of the project and executive administrators, that had to go around pitching and trying to figure out ways to fund this and bring more volunteers in new cities, just the whole regulatory thing. We had to figure all those logistics out. So
Yeah.
we started taking on that role more.
Yeah. Okay. So, we're talking to a bunch of educators, and I heard you talk about, you did the coding for the website.
Right.
So you had to learn that at some point, and then you transitioned to more of a managing role. So you had to learn those like leadership skills.
Definitely.
In addition to, going to school and learning everything else. So talk to us about like, what skills did you learn about yourself, or did you learn from somewhere else that really helped you do this?
Right. So I think one of the best skills that we really had to use from the beginning was time management. And I think that really came from the online schooling experience. Because I mean, we had a pretty structured curriculum in school before, but the way our school did online school was actually like they give you a bunch of work and you had to finish it by the end of the week, including tests. So that kind of really forced me to grow in that whole time management type of thing. Another thing, Giving Tuesday, we joined the Giving Tuesday Spark cohort pretty much. So they actually mentored us a lot about like how to write grant applications and how to really pitch yourself, market yourself. That was another thing. And then like on the topic of marketing, really networking, that was something I really had to pick up along the way. Just building personal relationships with other people, because it's really, at the end of the day, it's not just what you know, it's really who you know as well. Because just getting yourself in front of the right people can really do wonders for whatever service project you're interested in. And then really on top of that, I think I was also part of DECA, which is like a marketing association. So they definitely gave me some public speaking skills as well. And, eventually like I started stepping like even beyond this organization, like, so I started working with my local cities, like city council and stuff. And I started helping them with like engaging volunteers. And then I served on my governor's youth commission as well throughout this time. So I was easily spending maybe like 60 hours, like working on all this stuff. If you factor in school as well into the equation every week. So it was really intense, but I pushed through it.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's awesome. I really liked how you said, in your pitch that you were disrupting volunteering. I thought that was it. That perfectly sums up kind of what you're trying to do and what you're passionate about here. Hershey, what is, either one of the favorite things that you've done, or kind of what's your next thing?
what's my next thing? Okay. And what's the favorite thing that we've done? So I think originally, like one of the favorite things that we've really did was really just reach out to some of the local officials and try and expand volunteering in local cities by working with them on collaborating on drives, just funding opportunities, just all of that. So that was one of the favorite things early on, just knowing how accessible some things are, and just things are a lot easier than they seem when you just get going to them. So that was one thing I learned from that. And really what's next, I mean, so I'm going to Boston for college. So there's going to be a huge expansion across the country that we've been forced to improvise on because, you know, originally I thought I was going to stay in state, but I got a pretty good offer. So now we're going to be expanding across the country with that. And we're working more closely with Giving Tuesday now. And we're working more with even more partners. We're going to partner with more cities, and we're also going to just focus more on launching more PR campaigns, and just AI is the future. So we're obviously, one of our main bottlenecks as an organization is just to verify those volunteer hours and onboard volunteers. So using AI to just make that a lot more seamless, that's another thing that we're going to be working on. So that's what's next.
That's awesome. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Good work, Kirshneet. All right. So that is our second Digital for Good winner. Our third Digital for Good winner for the evening is Armida Hosani, who's the creator of multiple projects which aim at increasing financial economic education worldwide. She saw a problem in the current economic education situation and immediately set her sights on fixing it. She wrote Roadmap to Financial Literacy, a 4-chapter roadmap that has even been sold on Amazon. Then she began Empower Econ, which started as a one-time camp and quickly grew. Armida describes her mission at Empower Econ as empowering youth and developing the skills to confidently approach their financial futures. Here's Armida.
Armida, you're muted. Make sure you unmute so we can hear your wonderful words.
Oh yeah, you're right. Now, okay, can
You're
you
all
hear me
set.
now?
Yep, you're all set.
Okay, great. So thank you for having me. I don't think enough people know that nearly 57% of American adults are financially literate. That excludes nearly 143 million individuals, or that 31% of families never discuss money with their children. When my family moved to Canada several years ago, my parents were only beginning to understand North America's financial systems, learning about topics such as credit scores and mortgage applications. As recent immigrants, we looked for every opportunity to live frugally, looking for different ways to save money. During this period, I was fortunate that money was never a taboo subject in my household. Topics such as delayed gratification, budgeting, and conscious spending were frequent discussions, which has largely shaped my relationship with personal finance today. As I grew older, I realized that conversations regarding financial education are seldom discussed in communities such as mine, immigrants, minorities, and women. Yet, financial literacy and social justice are deeply intertwined. Financial independence gives individuals the power to walk away from abusive environments. It prevents them from falling vulnerable to predatory lending practices, and it offers knowledge and skills that prove vital in upward social mobility. In a world where youth have unequal access to financial education, I help students develop the knowledge and skills to confidently approach their futures. In 2020, I wrote and published my first book, Roadmap to Financial Literacy, an introduction to personal finance for teenagers, demystifying topics such as credit cards, student loans, saving, investing, and budgeting. An important aspect of this project was making sure that students of many different backgrounds could access it easily. Therefore, I worked with 2 California-based nonprofits, Operation Economics, and entrepreneurs to donate 386 copies of my books to schools across the state, for which I raised $1,500. Later in 2020, I founded Empower Econ with the intention to make the learning process more live, in-person, hands-on, and interactive. Since then, we have organized 5 virtual 3-day financial literacy camps for over 300 students from 36 countries across 5 continents. Our programs connect youth with experts in niche industries across business, finance, and economics, and offer real-life simulations and activities to solidify students' knowledge. In 2021, we also published our own economics textbook titled Economics from a Youth's Perspective, an Introduction for Teenagers, and have reached over 2,000 students with our resources, online content, and curriculum. Aiming to inspire more students to join our mission, my team and I regularly speak at workshops and on media, including Forbes magazine, Next Gen Personal Finance, and Women's Investment Network. Looking into the future, we plan to work with students and educators to start Empower Econ chapters. We hope to partner with businesses, nonprofits, and financial institutions in expanding and implementing our projects. And we aim to work with government officials to support our policies that make personal finance courses available in all high schools across North America. Support and join our cause by following us on social media at Empower Econ.
Thank you, Armida. This is so interesting to me. So I teach middle school language arts. So you wrote a book. Like you wrote a book, you got it published. Like, talk to us about that journey.
Yeah, for sure. So writing a book was something that I always wanted to do since I was like a little kid, because I really enjoy writing and specifically nonfiction writing. And so during the pandemic, I was thinking I have all this free time, like I'm inside all day. What is something that I can work on that would be useful to others and something that I would also enjoy? And so I was thinking about a lot of potential topics, and I thought about how a lot of schools cover topics like English and chemistry and different forms of science. But regardless of what path someone goes into, at the end of the day, they are going to need to know how to manage their personal finances. But my own high school, for example, didn't have any personal finance classes. And because I had been doing this research before and had some knowledge coming in, I thought this would be a great idea for a project. And so I started doing a lot more research. I was writing down everything that I did know about personal finance. And so it was something that like I pushed myself to consistently work on every day, because it was like a routine for me. And even if some days I didn't have many ideas or I didn't know how to go about it, I would just sit down and write for 30 minutes and brainstorm. Sometimes it was like very useful later on. Sometimes I felt like, no, I can't like really use much of this. So it was definitely like a process. And the biggest parts were like editing, writing content, cutting down content. And I also wanted it to be kind of a relatively easy book in the sense that it wasn't like super dense and packed with content. It had like a lot of visuals and examples and colors. So I was playing a lot with the content there to like reduce it and make it like more understandable and more engaging. So it was definitely like a long process, but also very exciting because it's something that I guess someone in high school wouldn't normally, I guess, pick up to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so cool. So you have this passion for financial literacy. You kind of, write your book and get that on Amazon. And then you start developing this like global network for financial literacy. So talk to us about like that global network of things, of people, I assume, and just talk to us about that global network.
Yeah, for sure. So when I first published the book, I never expected like a lot of people to be interested in it, because it was like I just come out of nowhere and put this out there. But I felt like a lot of students from different countries and like organizations that I had connected with were really interested in learning more, because a lot of times like financial literacy is such an intimidating topic. And so they thought like, I don't know how to start. I don't know who to go to. And so they were really interested in the book, and they were saying like, oh, is it available in my country? How can I access it? Like, are you going to do any other things? And so that got me thinking like, how about I turn this into an in-person event as well? Because I had attended many other forms of educational camps, like for entrepreneurship and for computer science. And I thought it would be a really cool idea to bring people together for financial education, because I hadn't really participated in anything that was similar. And so I started to message these students who had contacted me, and I was like, I'm starting this organization. Do you want to help maybe with like event planning, marketing, just to put an event together? And I saw a lot of interest. A lot of people were excited. And when we hosted our first camp, it was in December 2020. Everyone had such a great experience. It was such a fun time for me. And so I thought maybe we can turn this into maybe a seasonal thing. And so it started to evolve from there. And since then, we've been doing like another economics book that my team and I worked on together. We're working on entrepreneurship events and really branching out from that initial financial education idea that we had.
That's awesome. So similar, to Harshneet, of, you started as the writer, you started as the creator of all of these things. and now you're kind of overseeing this network and this organization of people. So again, similar question to what I asked him, how have you kind of seen your skills develop? And is there anything that's kind of surprised you about your journey?
Yeah, I think before I started this, like I wasn't the leader of any club in my high school, or it wasn't something that I was like super engaged in. And so when I started Empower Econ, I realized like I actually have a really big interest in leadership. So I started reading a lot of leadership books and looking up to different forms of leaders. And I think for me, that helped me gain more confidence in my skills to speak publicly and to work with other people, learn how to delegate tasks, be compassionate, and like understand other people's needs. And so for me, it's definitely been a process of personal growth as much as it has been through like extracurriculars and activities, because I feel like now when I approach something that I haven't done in the past, I have more confidence in my abilities to be able to figure it out, because I know that even if this is not something I've done before, that's all the better, because now I can like learn so much more through it that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So then you take your ideas and you kind of launch them on Instagram, right? And you start gaining this following of students, I assume, that want to know. So how do you take a topic like financial literacy and break that down into Instagram posts?
So something that we did for a while is Finance Fridays, where basically every Friday we would make an educational post about some topic in either finance or financial economics or economics as a whole. And so this would be engaging to students because it was like multiple slides and we used different examples and colorful images. And so it seemed a lot more approachable than I guess like a more dense or like hard to access topic. So first it was a lot through those Finance Fridays and posts. We also did like Instagram stories where we would do like a poll of the day and students would get asked the question and they would pick what the answer is, and then we would explain why that is true or false. And so having all of these different formats where they can interact with the content, and it's not a lot of information coming at them, but rather it's like maybe a small story or a few posts. It was really great in getting people interested in our organization to begin with. And then when they would join other communities like on Discord or on Slack that we had created, they would be able to attend our events, maybe even join the team. And so it started with like small posts and then it evolved into bigger events and activities.
Yeah. So, and I think, when we get to our group discussion, this is going to be something that I think the three of you guys are going to be able to speak to really well. But like you had to manage all of this growth in addition to still going to school. So talk to us about like, did you learn some of these skills as you were going through? Did you do all of this on your own? Did you get credit somewhere for writing a book?
Well, I feel like my school activities and what I did, like extracurricular wise, they were kind of separate in that I started a lot of it during the pandemic. And so I would maybe log on to online class during the day, and then in the evening I would work on this. So there wasn't like a lot of overlap. And so because of that, I felt like sometimes it was difficult to manage because I had like tests and exams and other things that I needed to do. And this was like a separate thing that I did for fun. But at the same time, I feel like the activities that I did outside of the classroom made me a lot more motivated in school because I had something that I was always so excited about and looked forward to, and I wanted to talk to other people about. So I feel like it was helpful in that it made me look forward to a lot more things, and also it made me better at time management, which I think also manifests into doing a lot of these projects and being able to juggle a lot of activities.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I think we're going to bring all of our Digital for Good winners back. And I think Bill is going to lead us in some Q&As.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Preston. My goodness, you asked so many of the questions I was going to ask. We had our Q&A Google Doc going, and just like, these are amazing questions. So Preston, thank you so much for those follow-ups. My goodness, I am so blown away by this group of humans. It's like, yeah, I was going to say I don't know where to start, but that's a lie. I have a Google Doc. I know where to start, and I'm putting my questions up first. I need to know what advice you have for educators in particular. Could be parents and educators, but what advice do you have for educators who have a student in their life who has a big idea for impact? Anna, can we start with you? You're talking to a whole bunch of educators. Someone comes up and says, we got a big idea. What do you got?
So, advice that I would give to educators is, first of all, as I said, be in their corner. It's really you. Sometimes you don't realize how important that is to be like part of the support system, because if you have a good support system, you can go really, really far. And I had a lot of people, rooting for me, trying to help me out, and I'm learning every day, but I've gotten so far already. So one of the biggest things is definitely be there for them. It's going to be hard. Make sure they know that it is going to be hard. It's not a walk in the park, but be there and encourage them, give them help, find the resources they may need, and they really will go far.
I love that so much. Hirshneet, how about you? And then Armina, I want to hear from you too, if you want to just piggyback off.
I think I'm gonna connect this with one of my stories from a venture I had before Project Smile AZ. My first venture was actually a computer club. And I started that in 5th grade. So I actually pitched to 8 teachers about starting this club. And it was the 9th teacher, who was actually a dean, that actually accepted my idea. And we actually launched the club 3 weeks later, and the club became the largest club on campus. We had 300 members, and each of them paid like $35 to get in. And so it raised about $10,500 to the school. So the school made a lot of money, and we were able to get these kids the education they needed. And that was all because that one teacher believed in me. And we were able to get that out there and like help all those students and also help the school. So I think that was a big part of that. And I think that just having belief in a student and having belief in an idea and just letting that student take risks, that can go so far. It went far for me. And I'm sure it can go far for other people if they just had that one yes to just give them the sign they need to just keep going. I think that's just really important. So just letting them take risks and believe in them.
I'm kind of going to second what has been said in that I think having a support system is super important. And a big reason why I was able to achieve all of the things that I did is because of teachers who were super excited to hear updates about Empower Econ and the projects that I was working on, because at the end of the day, it can also be like really intimidating and you question like, how is this going to turn out? But having someone that believes in you and is, I guess, willing to start a conversation with you about it, give advice, connect you with people who she knows you might be interested in and things like that. And having someone to talk to is super valuable at the end of the day. And I feel like that is one of the biggest things that they can give you.
Love that so much. My goodness, I'm hoping everybody watching this is taking notes. I'm sure you are frantically tweeting it out, or how do we say that now with threads? Are you threading it out? I don't know what the verb is for that. I should not have led with this. We have a question from the chat wondering, this is not a what would you do next, right? Like that's an easy one. What would you do differently with your project in the next year? What different pivots, different changes? Anyone feeling compelled to speak? I'm an educator, I can wait. I'm comfortable with the awkward silence. Hirshneet, I see your hand, go for it.
All right. So, I think I've touched on this a little bit earlier, but, as volunteers, they continue to like get more and more into volunteering, and more volunteers come onto the ground because of our project and other initiatives out there. We have to cater and just make things even easier for them. So just bringing in more AI tools and then having the ability to onboard more volunteers, that would exponentially increase our impact, which could get us to that 800,000 figure. Another thing, we could start using social media as not just a tool to bring more people into our volunteering system, but also as a tool to monetize and start like building on that revenue stream as a whole. So that could help us, we've already broken even, but that could help us invest more into marketing and stuff as well. So we could reinvest that into this exponential like growth cycle of social media organic content, bring more users and also bring more money. And then we can invest that into influencers that we can use to bring even more users, and just that whole cycle starts happening. So just building a sustainable stream like that, definitely. And I think that's about it.
Great. Thank you so much. So media literacy is about empowerment and engagement. And you all just are living it out in ways that I think are inspiring us more than we could have imagined. I think we were all ready to be inspired and be impressed, and just we are blown away by that. Wondering though about your friends, your peers, your classmates, how do they respond to your work? Anna, you want to go for it? I see your hand. It's just like in
Um,
class, I can call on you.
As far as reactions to my work, my family has been super supportive, and if I hit any bumps, they try and help me out. And my friends, they're excited about it. So yeah, it's pretty nice.
That's awesome. I just saw in the chat that you actually want to respond to the other one. Do you want to also follow up, since you're already unmuted? Tell us about what is looking different about your project in the coming year. I know you mentioned TikTok.
Yeah, so TikTok is the biggest thing right now, and also I am as you've noticed, on my Instagram, it's the real Anna Miller, but on my TikTok, it's Wheelchair and a Passport. I'm working on switching to Wheelchair and a Passport because, as I've learned, you want a good hook, whether that's in videos or, just like the general idea. And no one's really going to understand what the real Anna Miller means. But Wheelchair and a Passport kind of gives you that sense of, oh, so it's like about travel. And maybe it's about a disabled person traveling. So that I'm starting to switch to that.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, that's also a really good handle. I like that one a lot. Not that you're looking for me for feedback. But
Yeah, we
as soon
wrote
as you
it
said
down
it, it's
on
like,
a
yeah, there it is.
yeah, we wrote down a bunch of names on a notepad, and I was like, oh wait, this one looks good.
Yeah. Armina, anything from you about how peers have responded to your work?
I think it has been largely supportive. Like when I first started, I think the biggest reaction was like they were really shocked because the first thing I did was my book, and I just put that out there, and I hadn't really like told many people I was working on this. So one day I just show up and I'm like, I've created this, and they were all like, wow. But after that, it was like a lot of support and people cheering me on and like joining my events. I know a lot of my friends, when I was hosting like my Empower Econ camps, they would join and be really supportive and engaged. And so I think that's something I appreciated a lot because I was able to share something that I cared so much about with people who are in my life. So I think that, again, like the support system goes a really long way. And I think if someone's going, like if they're struggling or if they're unsure and they have doubts, having other people who can reassure them is definitely something that's very valuable.
That's great. Thank you. I have one last question, and I know we're just about out of time. So maybe give me like a 2-sentence answer. What do you wish adults knew about being a teenager today?
I think this is the most polite panel ever. You're awesome, Anna. You can just talk. You're awesome.
Something that I wish adults knew about teenagers. When you hear teenager, you think, lazy, always on their phones. But it's important to know that we really are trying to change things. And a lot of teenagers do not get listened to. If, like take Greta Thunberg, for example, with her work in environment. I mean, politicians were laughing at her and things like that, and we're just seen as kids who don't know any better, but we really can change the world here. And we just need support and help and the willingness to help.
I love that. Hershni, how about you?
I think we definitely grow up in a totally different world. And like with all the internet, all the new opportunities for us to build our own online presences, I think that like just being born into this generation, like, a lot more about online tools and how to use technology in the best ways possible. So I think adults should definitely take a part in making sure that all of that is being used in the right way. because these tools can help you greatly. Like ChatGPT, you can really use it in a really great educational way. But there's also been harmful ways it's been used. Obviously, like you can use it for making scam emails and even like defrauding people, or even like writing harmful content. So all of those things, like it just, there's a double-edged sword to this digital age. And I think adults really need to know about that and just need to guide the youth in the right way. And if they can do that, we're going to have a really amazing generation of powerful, innovative thinkers.
All right, and wrap us up, Armida.
I think just adding on to what everyone said, a lot of teenagers have really great ideas and they want to pursue them. So I think that providing those opportunities and giving them the freedom to pursue what's best for them and what they think they're going to do that's going to make the most impact is something that's very important.
Well, Bill, I hate being the one that has to stop these conversations because this is inspiring, it's energizing, it's really phenomenal. You are all incredible. And Preston, we might need to invite you back just to facilitate conversations because you're awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for wrapping up this conference and for all the amazing contributions you make to the world. I can't wait to see what you do next. I'm gonna bring Matthew Woods and Kimberly Moffitt back up here to join me and Bill as we wrap up, believe it or not, namely 2023. It's been quite a couple of days. I know we all are just spinning with ideas and excitement, and I'm actually incredibly surprised I'm not more tired right now because I'm just so energized. So I'll stop talking and let our co-chairs, Bill and Matthew, say a few words, and then of course, pass it off to Kimberly for some final words.
Thank you, Michelle. As we come to the end of this year's conference, we want to extend gratitude to each and every one of you for being a part of this incredible gathering. Whether you're a first-time attendee or a dedicated participant who has been with us from the beginning, your presence and dedication have made this event truly special. Throughout these past few days, we've come together because we have a common interest: media literacy education. The fact that you've chosen to be here is a testament to your belief in the transformative power of media literacy and the importance of media literacy education being an essential life skill that empowers individuals and shapes our society.
That's right, and namely, we are united by a deep conviction that we must act urgently and passionately to advance the practice of media literacy. As we conclude this conference, let us carry forward the inspiration, knowledge, and connections we've gained here. Let us be ambassadors of media literacy in our communities, sharing our insights and advocating for its continued importance.
Together, we can make a lasting impact and foster critical thinking, digital citizenship, and informed engagement with media. Thank you once again for being a part of this remarkable journey with us.
Thank you both for all of your work and your commitment to NAMLE. Kimberly, parting thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to be very brief. And the statement that comes to mind for the last 2 days is the kids are all right. I have been blown away with what efforts and content creation that's being done by Gen Zers. And I say that as the mom of 2 Gen Zers, who I have to be honest, sometimes I worry about. And what I have come to appreciate and hear, and I heard you loud and clear, Anna, when you said, yes, we do have our phones in our hands all the time, but it sounds like there's something actually happening when you are holding that phone and that you are investing in some deep thought, offering insights and thinking about the ways that you all want to contribute and change the world. And that's exactly what we need right now with everything that's going on in our society. I know that you recognize that. I'm glad that you are in tune and paying attention so that thinking about passing the mantle to the next generation to do this work, that the kids are all right. I want to say, I have appreciated being more of a student over the last 2 days than actually the educator, and learning so much of what others are doing. So thank you so much for allowing me to be a participant, to just be able to sit and absorb and listen and learn and grow from each of you. It's been a really rewarding experience for the last 2 days.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you. We have a lot of work to do. I'm looking forward to doing it together. I am going to close the conference with a few thank yous and a few announcements. I would love to bring our Deputy Director, Danelle Probst, and our Education Manager, Meg Fromm, here to help me wrap up a few things. So I do want to once again thank our sponsors. Of course, without their support, we couldn't do all the things that we are able to do. I just need to note that Danelle and Meg are just incredible human beings, and I cannot believe how lucky I am to work with them every day. And most of what you saw and experienced over the last few days have been because of them. So Meg, I'm going to pass it along to you for you to give some updates.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michelle. We are so excited to announce that we are launching our 2023 State of Media Literacy Survey, which is a follow-up from our 2019 report, and we would really love to hear from you. Our goal is to survey as many educators as possible, and that's educators in lots of capacities, about your media literacy practice, the materials you use, the topics you teach, the challenges you are facing. So we hope you'll consider taking about 15 minutes to complete this survey. Your personal information will be kept confidential, of course, and will not be shared with anyone outside of NAMLE's research team. You know, we really want you to know, and thank you ahead of time for completing the survey, because by doing it, you're allowing us to paint just a much more detailed picture of media literacy education, so that we can continue to advocate for you and the national attention and support that you deeply need as educators. We also hope you will join us for our next membership meeting on September 6th. These meetings are a casual, great way to stay connected to our community and discuss lots of relevant topics and resources. So I will pass it to Danelle for a few more updates.
Awesome. Thank you, Meg. So we just wanted to make sure that you don't lose track in all of this conference goodness of Media Literacy Week, which is happening this year from October 23rd through 27th. The mission of Media Literacy Week is to highlight the power of media literacy education and its essential role in education across the country. Whether you are an individual teacher, an employee in an organization, a researcher, a parent, you can get involved. We have many options for signing up on the website. You can also register your events so that we can share the power of all of our collective efforts.
Oh, sorry, I keep messing up the slides. It's like end of conference nerves, I guess.
Yes, and then we just wanted to add one more plug for our student media literacy video contest. It is hosted by NAMLE and Thomson Reuters. The submission deadline is October 6th. And as Bill said earlier, the winners will receive a mentorship with a Reuters journalist, which is certainly priceless. And one last plug, because as you can tell, we can't get enough of it for NAMLE's Community Hub. We worked on this endlessly for months and months and months, and we're so happy that it is up and running. So please join us. We can continue the conversations we started here at the conference. And it's just a really great place to network that is only for NAMLE members. We don't have to worry about outside worlds, and we can just get the work done that we need to do.
Thank you, Danelle. And our last announcement, which we're super excited about, is that plans are in the works for our first ever Media Literacy Leadership Summit. It's happening in person at Emerson College in Los Angeles on Saturday, September 30th. Registration for NAMLE members will open on August 1st. And the full day participatory summit will focus on the question, what is the future we want to create for media literacy education? And we will be be envisioning a path forward for scaling this work. The workshop will be facilitated by NAMLE member Sangeeta Shrevtova, who is from the Civic Imagination Project at University of Southern California. She's incredible. We have an incredible day plan. We are inviting participants to step outside of the box, roll up their sleeves, and help us envision the future. So that is a wrap. Thank you so much for joining us for NAMLE 23. Please fill out our post-conference surveys. Don't forget session recordings are available till October 15th. Please email us at conference@namle.net if you need anything. We hope to see you on our community hub at the next membership meeting, and you'll see lots of wonderful faces right now. I want to finally take a moment to thank the incredible NAMLE staff. Besides Meg and Danelle, we have Carson, our amazing communications coordinator, and Justine, our amazing office coordinator, and of course, Kayla Myers, who we cannot express our gratitude for all her awesomeness. Starting on Tuesday, we're going to start saying things like, wait, we miss Kayla. Thank you to our conference committee, to our board of directors, to our amazing interns, volunteers, and one last enormous shout out to Bill, who kept us laughing, who helped us with, had his kids join a lot of the calls, motivated us to make it all happen. Thank you, Kimberly and Matthew, for being here. To all of you, thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we really hope to see you soon.